Truckers X TV on air. We are now live in 3, 2, 1.
Done. Looks like Jim was able to leave us the name of his killer in the end. And this most important message managed to reach us. I'm telling you, it wasn't me. You can't be terribly pleased to hear that your beloved partner is the guilty party. If you're going to accuse Detective Gumshoe of being the culprit, I sincerely hope you have some proof to back it up. Jim's words, they're more than enough, wouldn't you say? If that's how you want to play it, then at least allow me to understand your reasoning. You got it. I don't like this one bit. There's something strange about this man's attitude, and there must be some sort of flaw to his logic waiting for me to dig out. Mr. Edward, what are you going to do? What I always do in court. I'm going to cross-examine him. One way or another, I'll expose the flaw in his logic with this technique. Oh, how do you do that? Can you explain it to me? Might as well. Alright, first I listen to the witness testimony. If I find a flaw in the testimony, something that contradicts the evidence, I open my organizer and RB would present the piece of contradictory evidence. To present something, I typically use Y, but that's old news. But it's not like there's gonna be a flaw in their testimony every time, right? Correct, and those times I need to press the witness LB. Sometimes by pressing, I can draw out new information, new or modified testimony. I think I get it, sir. I'll be sure to try this technique out during investigations too. Very well, I'll even show you how it's done. Now watch carefully. Mr. Portman's logic. Detective Gumshoe, you stole Jim's gun from him and shot him dead. Furthermore, you messed up the files to make it look like you had committed theft instead. That's when you moved Jim's body that was sitting in front of the bookshelf. But thanks to that, you didn't notice the bloody letters his body was hiding. And it will be by his final words that you will be brought to justice. You attempt to argue the victim's dying message points to the killer. I can hear Jim's voice, and he's calling for his victor's arrest. Are you sure you're not mishearing words, Mr. Portman? There's no way Detective Gumshoe is the culprit here. I will find the flaw in the man's logic and expose it with incredible evidence. Rebuttal. Detective Gumshoe, you stole Jim's gun from him and shot him dead.
Hold it!
You know, there's something I've been meaning to ask. What is it? Why do you call the victim Jim, when clearly his name is Buddy Faith? Isn't it obvious? Jim is the perfect name for my companion. Jocks and Jim, don't those two names go together like peanut butter and jelly? But Jim isn't even close to the guy's real name. Well, Jocks and Buddy just sounds off somehow. Besides, he was the third of a bunch of guys I decided to name Jim. He talks about the victim like he was his pet. Further, you messed up the files to make it look like you had committed theft inside.
Hold it!
Do you really think it was necessary to disassemble my shelves twice to do that? That's true. Okay, then maybe his real intent was theft. Hey, are you accusing me of stealing something from Mr. Edgeworth? It's a possibility. Maybe your salary's been cut so much that life is getting a little too rough to handle. I'll have you know that I eat 3 square meals every day, pal. Okay, so all 3 of them happen to be instant noodles, but... Poor thing, what an evil prosecutor you were paired up with, and what a motive, no? That's when you moved Jim's body that was sitting in front of the bookshelf.
Hold it!
And why would Detective Gumshoe do such thing? Because the body was getting this way. He had to mess up your bookshelf somehow, right? Anyway... But thanks to that, you didn't notice the bloody letters.
Hold it!
Why do you think the killer didn't notice the body letters? The body was covering it quite well, wouldn't you say? That's how he messed it. But judging by what I've seen, it doesn't take much for it to miss something. Who do you think you are? You know nothing about me, pal. There's a lot a person can understand about another from a first impressions alone. I can't say I disagree with him on that point. Why don't you say something, sir? Not you too, Mr. Edgeworth. Despite his lack of attention to detail, I don't believe the detective to be the culprit. Nobody could overlook the body letters, and I can prove it with evidence. I couldn't ask for a better setup for the game finishing spike. So we're gonna press this one, right? And it will be the vice. It'll be this, cause can I examine? I mean, we can still see it.
Objection!
Ah, shoot.
Objection!
Perhaps you're not aware, Mr. Portman, but there is a serious flaw in your logic. Bringing a bit of courtroom to this, I see. No problem, I'm game. I can't help but find it odd. Excuse me? Odd that a fellow prosecutor would be brought down by the power of his own office. What are you talking about? Oh, you're joking, I get it. Haha. If you have the time to laugh, then you have the time to take another closer look at this. Do you still not see? If not, may I direct your attention to the missing file? What? That's impossible! What's impossible, Mr. Portsman? Nothing. The files on that shelf are all about certain case. When the killer went to take the file after murdering your partner, I highly doubt they could have missed the bloody letters written on the spines.
Objection!
It's possible that they could have taken the file before committing the murder. I think it's pretty obvious the file was stolen after it was written on. The missing letters in the detective's name were the file should be his pre-proof. Yeah, I mean, the S is gone, so there should only have. Detective Gumshoe really was the culprit of this case. I highly doubt that even he could overlook his own name written in blood of files, especially a detective who can't stand the sight of blood. Which means, what exactly? What does that make this dying message? It makes it the work of a criminal intent on tampering with the crime scene. That's so low, I can't believe the criminal tried to pin this whole thing on me, sir. I'm gonna get him, sir. You'll see, I'm gonna have them under arrest in no time. Well, Mr. Portsman? Ha 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 ha, brilliant, absolutely splendid. Logic deserving of Olympic gold. I appreciate the praise, but it doesn't change the fact that your reasoning is flawed. You win some, you lose some, that's how life goes. Not everyone's so cheery, even though I feel more dead than alive. Ah, but you know, it really is a shame. I really didn't want to have to bring this up, however... Ooh, what is it this time? Are you still after me, pal? Humor me for a second. Who has the key to this office? That would be me. But Esther, Mr. Edward just proved that I'm innocent, pal. That's absolutely right, and I acknowledge your innocence. Then why do I sense that you still have something to say? Well, I was thinking, did you know there is one other person with a key to this office? One other person. Hey, you there. Yes, sir. What is it, sir? Would you kindly fetch and escort that lovely young lady here for me? A lady? The girl is a member of this building's security. Think of her as a material witness. Security? Did you say security? No, stop it, pal, don't! What's wrong with him all of a sudden? I believe she needs no introduction. I have called upon Miss Maggie Bird, a member of security. Detective Gumshoe? Maggie? Why does she look so familiar? Miss Bird is the security guard on watch tonight. I see. And your point is? My point is that she could very well have used it. And by it, I mean the master key which can open all the office doors in this building. What? If you are not guilty of the party, Detective Gumshoe, then the only other person with access to this room is Miss Bird.
How dare you? I would never sneak into someone's room.
That's right, I refuse to believe that Maggie's the culprit, pal. It was me. That's right, I did it. Can we take it as a confession, Detective? Well, it wasn't really me, but it definitely wasn't Maggie, pal. So yeah, it was me. If it was you, you have no problem with that, right? Please refrain from flying off the handle, Detective. There's no need for such theatrics. Listen to your boss, Detective. He understands what I'm saying here. That girl is the only one who could have committed the crime, and for one simple reason. Reasons for suspicion. It's pretty obvious that Miss Bird snuck into your room using the master key. I mean, if Detective Gumshoe is the one who opened the door, then that leaves only Miss Bird as our prime suspect. On top of which, she knows our good detective, doesn't she? Making it all the more probable that she was the one who faked the dying message. So you're saying she used the master key? Incredibly incriminating evidence, wouldn't you say? That's what you claimed about the evidence earlier as well. That was then, this is now. The flow of good match always changes during a rally. It's all about your reflexes and reaction time, especially for an athlete like me. I wonder if there was anyone else other than Miss Bird who could have used the master key. Seems that the only way to get Mr. Porter to give me more chance to press him. Yeah, there's a couple more I want to press. Not this. A couple which she knows our good detective, doesn't she?
Hold it!
Is there anyone in the district who hasn't had at least heard of Detective Gumshoe? Good point. He's practically a celebrity among us prosecutors. Really? I never knew I was so talked about, sir. We're holding our collective breaths, you know? For when you screw up so badly that you're literally chased off the force. Wait, what? Is that true, Mr. Edgeworth? Of course not. That's hogwash. Ew, don't scare me like that. I almost had a heart attack there. Making it all more probable that she was the one who faked the dying message. Oh, I got a lot to press.
Hold it!
By dying message, you mean the bloody letters that spell out Gumshoe. I figured that whoever wrote his name must have wanted to frame him. I just act that choosing his name is proof enough to the two knew each other. Mr. Edgeworth, what are you waiting for? Hurry up and present some evidence. I would love to, but first we should listen a bit more and digest what he is saying. Oh, great. Pretty obvious.
Hold it!
There's only one person on staff at this time of night. Tonight she's it. Isn't that right, Miss Bird?
That's, true, but I wasn't able to use the master key at the time of the crime, sir.
Wasn't able to? What's that supposed to mean? Yes, moving on. I hate to get sidetracked by something unrelated. What do you mean unrelated? I want to hear what she has to say, pal. But you can't really trust her not to tell lies, plus I hate wasting time. Should I ask for more details? Not so fast. I too am interested in hearing what Miss Bird has to say. Didn't I just say it'd be a waste of time? We don't need to hear her lies. I'll be the judge of that, Miss Bird, if you please.
I discovered that the master key was missing at around 1 a.m., sir.
What do you mean by missing?
As in, it was anywhere in the security booth, sir. The killer must have stolen it.
Mr. Portsman, I believe this is an important piece of testimony, don't you? I can't believe that someone like you would be taken by such words.
I'm not lying, sir.
Objection!
If that's the case, then I'd like to know why you have the master key now.
I don't quite know. It's just reappeared all of a sudden, sir.
Ha! A likely story, and where is your proof that the key was stolen to begin with? I bet you just forgot where you put it and found it again.
I never lose things. I can practically guarantee that. With me, if something disappears, it's usually because someone stole it.
Yeah, pal, trust me, you don't want to test her bad her luck is. Unfortunately, I can't deem this piece of testimony as conclusive. Glad you agree, Mr. Edgeworth. But... You still haven't established Maggie's motive for breaking into Mr. Edgeworth's office. Her motive? Didn't we already establish it was theft? I mean, the culprit clearly went through the bookshelves and at least tried the safe. It is as Mr. Portman says, Detective. I can't ignore the fact that all the evidence points towards a motive of theft. But I'm done taking blows. It's time to counterattack with a few facts of my own. Her intent. From the messed up shelves to the wiped down, I say thievery.
Hold it!
I concur that the culprit's motives appears to have been thievery. However, glad to hear that the great Miles Edgeworth is in the agreement with little old me. However, with regard to the investigation of the bookshelves and safe, hey, good thinking, asking for my opinion on the matter. Would it be too much for you to allow me to complete a full sentence? I mean, her intent, from the mess up shelves to the wipe down say, I say thievery.
Objection!
Do you wish to continue insisting that Miss Bird was set on stealing something? Why not? It's the truth after all. It was also by your logic that we came to the whole thievery conclusion anyway. That may be, but you must also be aware of the fact that the safe is a secret safe, the existence of which only private to prosecutors. I find it a little hard to believe that the hidden safe was a part of her cunning plan. But she could have just found it by accident while she was turning everything else upside down. I highly doubt that. I say the culprit knew exactly what they were looking for. After all, only the bookshelf and the safe were targeted. Yeah, even I didn't know about the safe, pal. And that means there's no way Maggie could have known about it either. Then, are you proposing that the killer is a prosecutor? Interesting conclusion. That's definitely looking more and more probable. What's wrong, prosecutor? Do you have a different suspect in mind now? Curses, why? What made you? What's with the angry face all of a sudden? It's all my fault. What do you mean? It's Jim. He knew about the existence of the secret safes. What did you just say? We were partners, like inseparable conjoined twins. That's why I told him I'd fill them in on the secret safes. And that means... Yeah, I know, I only had told him to. Obviously it was wrong of me to tell him. I still can't quite believe it. But the thief who broke into your room was probably Jim. Now he's claiming that the victim was the thief. And you were simply trying to stop him, weren't you? Miss Maggie Bird? Excuse me? I mean, you are a security guard, right? That's your job. But killing is going a bit too far, even your risky profession. What the? You're still accusing Maggie of the murder? Yes and no. I mean, she had stumbled upon Jim, who had probably drawn his gun. I get it. It was self-defense, wasn't it? No, I couldn't. I could never do something like that. Not even as a security guard, sir. Plus, even if he was a thief, he wouldn't have the key to this office. Which is precisely why he had to steal it, wouldn't you say? It was Jim who stole the master key. Pretty impossible for a supposedly stolen key to be here with us unless you retrieve it from Jim after you killed him. Mr. Portsmouth, are you honestly accusing your own partner of being a thief? I don't want to admit it, but it's the only way for everything else to make sense. Has he no honor? Now then, I think we're done here. The investigation waits for no man. Would you people be so kind to see yourselves out? You can't kick us out. This is Mr. Edgeworth's office. But I'm the one who's been assigned to this case. You are all suspects to varying degrees and therefore ineligible to run this show. Listen, pal, how many times do I have to say this? Maggie can't be the culprit. Detective Kamshu, calm yourself.
But sure.
We have no choice but to accommodate his request, for now.
Haha, thank you, Mr. Edgeworth. At least one of you understands. Now then, if you could remove yourselves from my crime scene, I'd be more grateful.
Mark my words, Mr. Portsman. We will meet again.
If that's a formal request from the legendary prosecutor himself, then I suppose so. Now, don't disappoint me, you hear?
To be continued? Yes, sir. Like and subscribe. Short 6TV, and I'm sending out.